Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we are going to be going over the new updated second Masteries for the JP side. This will be part 3 of a long ongoing Mastery upgrade series. Let's go ahead and dig in. Now, Mashery has probably gotten the most attention, and you've all probably seen, I believe it was a screenshot shared by Cabbage, about Mashery having insane resistances. So she did standard before, have TP 10%, agility 10%. She gets an upgrade to her LB, which we'll talk about in just a second. But she did get HP 10% for light allies, a light attack 15 for light allies, magic 30% for self, decreased chance of being targeted 3 for self. These are all really good. And then we get to her LB. Now, most of you probably don't know what Machery's LB does. So let's talk about what the first form of her LB does, which is a 213% point blank modifier attack, which increases all attack resistances 45% for 1 turn to self. Now, the upgraded version of this, and it is a strike attack, keep in mind, changes the modification, right? So it goes from being, it looks like an attack base to a magic based attack, which is an interesting upgrade. I would imagine they would have changed the original LB too. I'm not sure if this is an error on WoTV calc or if this is just kind of what they did. But it is going to be the same modifier. It's going to become 100% hit chance attack, and it's going to increase all attack resistances 60% for 3 turns to self. And this is really powerful. And I kind of wonder if there's going to be some utility maybe in PvP or other type content where you potentially LB your own units to get this 60% resistance. That might sound crazy, but in order to get 3 turns of close to immunity on Mashery, maybe it's something you do. Other than that, though, pretty ridiculous. You know, I don't think Mashery is going to be, I don't think this is going to make Mashery necessary for like all content in the world. But I do think it does give her a fighting chance. And when you do use her, she will be okay. She is going to get, she is going to get some work done. Now, of course, we got the upgrade for the Christmas units as well, and the Christmas units unfortunately didn't really see the biggest buff in mastery abilities. Probably the older ones did, as opposed to Winter Victoria and Winter Ziza. But Winter Victoria, she originally had decreased AP consumption 20 and the water HP and water attack buff for allies. She gets her decreased AP consumption buff to 35 for self, and she gets an additional 25 accuracy, which accuracy is always good, but ranged characters always have significantly more accuracy than other characters in the game. And while I think it's great that she got a buff to accuracy, I'm not sure it was, necessarily really required. Winter Venera got some pretty interesting buffs, actually. She got a, she originally had Earth Attack ally, buff and Earth HP ally buff. And then she originally had 20% attack for self. That is now attack plus 40%. So she got an additional attack plus 20%, which is really good, right? If you're trying to, make a unit stay updated or up to kind of par with, power creep, I suppose. But then she has a 40% chance, and the translation is a little weird on this. It says 40% chance the counter doesn't activate for self. I imagine what this is this stops your opponent's counter from activating. And I don't know kind of the ins and outs of how this works. If it could potentially stop reflex, if it, checks, like if it checks if a counter ability is gonna go off, and if it only affects her, there's a 40% chance that, she's not going to be hit by it. I'm not sure how it works, because if it's only that, you're basically saying, if a opponent has a counterattack ability that hits 30% of the time, not only does your opponent have to counterattack on Ziza, but Ziza also has to hit the 40% chance to not be affected by it. So like a really low percentage chance that I feel like that you would actually see this used. So something to consider here. Now, the bigger buffs are going to be to Winter Mashery. And holy cow, y'all know I love my Dragoon girls. Winter Mashery just got it, you guys. Originally, she had ice resistance 10% for self, agility 10% for self. She got the fire buff, so of course, HP 10% for fire allies, increased fire attack 15 for fire allies, maintain the ice resistance 10%, agility 10%, defense penetration 30, and what I think is the best here, slash resistance 10% and magic resistance 10%. So not only is she going to have that additional defense penetration, she's going to be a little bit more beefy and brawlery. It's exactly what you need for her. She's going to have that additional HP. She's going to buff other fire units. I think it's just gonna, breathe life back into her as a character. She has access to Sub Ranger, which is something to think about with Setia coming out in the near future as well. Overall, Christmas, Mashery is going to destroy, and I hope you guys, we get these second Masteries before Christmas of next year. I really do hope. Finally, Winter Ramada. I actually think, and this, okay, if you guys don't know the backstory with Winter Ramada and me, I think Winter Ramada is one of the most useless units in the game. Because PvE, she always dies. She's not used in PvP. She's one of the most frustrating units to actively make work. Yes, she's really powerful when you can execute her, but she's literally like a glass cannon. And she literally gets in her mastery ability what I think is the most important ability that her character really needed, which is like a guts ability. So she gets, of course, the mastery ability for water units, so HP 10%, water attack 15. She still has critical hit rate 10 and attack 10%. She gets defense penetration 40, which is also really big, although she's a soldier main job, so she's almost always going to be hitting cap damage, particularly if you're using her in chaining PvE content either way. But still, we'll take that defense pen, why not? But her LB got upgraded, and her LB lowers slash resistance 38% for 3 turns to target. But then it gets buffed to almost I'm not sure if it's Mirage would be a good way to compare this to, but it reduces the damage taken 100% from one time to self. So I think this is really what Winter Ramada needed. I think this is what Winter Ramada needed, for PvE, to be effective if you're wanting to use her in any type of content where you're going in PvP. Being able to have this is just critical for her. And I think, in PvE content, when you're chaining and you're wanting a water slash chain, you want to decrease the slash resistance, so you will be making her use her LB, which means she will get this, which means she's likely going to be a little bit more durable than she has been in the past. She's also going to have that mastery ability, which increases HP for water units in the formation. So I think it's just exactly what she's needed. Now, we have 2 units left. We have Etri and we have Frederica. Etri basically got immobilized resistance for Earth allies and some additional evasion, plus 20 evasion. She also got HP 10% for Earth allies. And probably the one a lot of people have been also hyping up and talking about besides Mashery or generic Mashery has actually been Frederika. And I think a lot of people are waiting for the Frederika buff, just because Frederika is one of those units that ever since her release has had, kind of like a return to action. Like Lucia, when she was initially released, was really powerful, and then she kind of faded off. Even with her EX, we're not, seeing a lot of her. But Frederika has always been consistent and is, I literally have her in my arena in my guild formation right now with her EX form. So her original mastery ability was increased missile attack 15 for self. She's going to get the HP 10% for lightning allies, increased lightning attack 15 for lightning allies, which is great. Again, she's going to keep that missile attack 15, and then she's going to get defense penetration 10 and decrease AP consumption 30. This is not a huge buff. I think what's more important is the HP 10% for lightning allies and the lightning attack for lightning allies, just to kind of keep her up to date and on par. I don't think she needed a lot of love in terms of her second mastery. I think she literally just needed that party buff to make her a little bit more relevant, because she is still a relevant lightning element unit. And maybe that changes in JP with where they are at right now, because they do have the lightning warrior of crystal. They also have do they have another lightning unit? I can't remember off the top of my head, but maybe that changes. We'll have to wait and see. But overall, I think a lot of people are going to be excited and really excited for Frederika to come out. Anyway, everybody, I am going to go crash because I, of course, have my third booster, so I'm going to go pass out for 24 hours and then wake up to all of your comments. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time.